Hi guys, I'm Kranti Samho. Welcome to Time Drive, and as you can see, we have a special guest today, Steffen Knapp, who is director, head of Volkswagen Cars India. And Steffen, first question, what everyone is saying these days that now first question is mostly even in formal calls, even in official call. First question is personal, and that is what I'm asking. How are you doing? How are you feeling this lockdown? And what's your daily routine like?
Yeah, well, I would say you have to keep the same routine as before. Yeah, so what we are doing, we are having the same set of meetings. We have the same hours in order to have some form of normality. Yeah, because you need to have this framework, which is important. If not, you can really lose yourself very fast. Yeah, because everything is only online. Yeah, so you don't have to go somewhere. You don't have to. I don't know, dress yourself or whatever. The completely normal routine, which is when you go outside, is not existing. So it's very important to have this framework. Yeah. And then the second one, which is extremely important in these times, is connect. Yeah. So we had given this direction right from the start. For me, it's important that you're not only connecting on a business aspects, you have to connect also privately. You have to show some warmth. You have to listen to the sorrows and worries of each other. Yeah. So I installed, for instance, a session which we called coffee break, where we basically have online just a chat. So I select 6-7 of my team, and we just discuss how is it treating you, like you asked me now, in order also to give the feeling of this. I'm standing at a corner, I'm having a cup of coffee in my hands, and I'm just chatting about what my children are doing and whatsoever. Yeah. So this connect is extremely important, because if not, you get lost in the emotional aspects. Yeah. I see it positively experienced in terms of technology. It's really working. We will really save a lot of money because we don't need to travel so much anymore. I think we can get much more efficient. We can work on our projects more focused, and that has an advantage. Yeah. But nothing is so interesting as having a personal interaction in a room together. I think that is something which you learn very, very, very fast. It is really a pleasure to meet a person in a room together, to have a coffee together, and rather having it online.
Right, and today we are recording on the 4th of May, and we by this time we were expecting some kind of relaxation. How are you looking at it? Where do you stand now? And for your brand and for industry, what are your thoughts today?
Well, today it's actually I'm a little bit excited because we see some things moving. Yeah, so we had prepared everything. We had split our activities in 3 areas. We say lockdown. What do we have to do for our customers, for our employees, for the safety of our customers and employees, and information in particular. And the second phase is to ramp up. Yeah, and though we had to prepare a lot, what do you need to do in sanitization and all these kinds of stuff. And now all these plans come true, because we see in some states in India that the dealerships are opening again. We see that we are allowed to take some people into our plants. So slowly but steadily, normal life is coming back. So for me, it's an exciting moment. Yeah, all the things that we had done on paper, which we have prepared, are now can get taken into action. And that's the interesting bit.
Right, and what's the biggest challenge if you talk about today in front of your brand right now?
Well, the biggest challenge is the complete ecosystem to get it working again. So, what you learn in such a phase is how you are interlinked to a lot of aspects. Just going to give you an example. We have cars being prepared, produced, standing in Pune, but now you have to get them out. Get the transportation logistics in place again. How can you get the drivers fast? How can you get enough trucks? Where is it possible to pass? So the whole infrastructure is not working at the moment. No, so the supply chains you have to come in place that you can restart production again. Yeah. So all these aspects. How many people can I get into my plant? How many people can I get into my dealership? Do I have my people around me? Yeah, so we had to analyze, and that's what we prepared, for instance, how many of our 10,000 people working outside in the dealerships are living actually close by to the workshops and showrooms? Or did they all go back to their villages? Can I get them back? So there's a lot of questions we have to answer. Fortunately, we are very well prepared, but it is still, there are some gaps between the supply. There are some gaps when it comes to transportation. Yes, there must be people in the plant to dispatch physically vehicles. You have to get them in the plant. What are the obstacles? Where are they living? Are they living in containment zones or not? Are they living in red and orange and green zones? So there are a lot of questions which are now coming to us, which are operationally not easy to fix. But on the other side, it's a good feeling that it starts. Yeah, so because we have been really basically preparing a lot for the zero on the ground, yeah, and now we see it in some states really materializing.
And are we going to see some kind of structural changes on assembly lines also, considering social distancing norms and safety hygiene?
Of course, the complete production process has to be changed and is changed. Yeah? Because you have to adhere, first of all, to the complete sanitization process from people coming inside the plant, yeah, to people working alongside to each other. So we have to have the 2 meters gap between them. That requires that we are changing the handling process of the assembling of the production lines. Yeah, we have to make sure that we have regular sessions on temperature control. What are you doing in the canteen? You have to make sure that there's also gap in between. What are you doing with people in the locker rooms? Yeah, you have to make sure that these are also enough space in between each other. Yeah, so coming inside, the full sanitization process has to be in place. To work with gloves is also a different setup like they worked before. To work with masks in an Indian summer, which is 40 degrees, yeah, we have to make sure that this is also sustainable. Getting the water, for instance, to drink. Yeah, so we have to make sure that each individual worker, employee has its own bottle, which he is using. Yeah, you cannot reuse glasses and stuff. Yeah, so there's a huge logistical chain in place in order to make sure that people are safe. In order to make sure that we are in the future safe also.
And whatever lockdown we have already seen, what kind of impact do you think it has had on Indian auto industry?
Well, this we will see 2 months down the line. Yeah, I think the major impact is what are our colleagues, what are we doing in terms of investments? This we will see. So I can only speak for Volkswagen. We have decided to continue our investments of India 2.0. There's no change. So we are going full throttle in our plans. But obviously, every company is going to be hit in terms of its liquidity. Yeah. So, and that the first thing what you're going to do is look into investments. This we will see. Secondly, we will see it also in terms of customer confidence. Is it coming back or not? What we see today, people are still very much interested in purchasing a vehicle, but their budgets are going down. So they want to spend less. Yeah, so we assume that it come back to some form of normality. It will take minimum 2 months. Yeah, and then we will see whether the customers are really willing to purchase new vehicles or whatever, used car vehicles. So I think the real effect is very difficult to predict at the moment. Clearly, it has an impact on GDP. We will see, from my point of view, also in India, a negative GDP, a recession here coming. Although so far the forecast is still 1.5% plus for the full year, but I think this has to be revised after the additional lockdown extension by 2 weeks. I'm personally expecting a negative figure this year. Yeah, so we will see. We are on a global base. It's around -3% at the moment, what the global forecast is. But given the fact that it's longer than we expected, we will see some negative impact. You know, the biggest issue is really perhaps not on the big players. The biggest issue is happening on the MSMEs. Yeah, what is happening in the majority of people purchasing vehicles? Yeah, so these smaller companies. Yeah, how can they survive? Yeah, how can they get liquidity in order to survive? How can they pay their people? If you look today, a lot of people and a lot of companies have decided not to pay salaries. They have even decided to lay off people. And that's the question, how fast can we recover this and stop this? Yeah? And this is due obviously also to customer confidence on the one side, and the second side also on measures by the government which have to be taken in order to revamp business.
Right, and with this thought, I would want to ask you about future of this market as well. Where do you see that going? But before that, if you talk about the market, you think government, I mean, the segment, the industry needs more government support right now?
Well, first of all, I'm from my professional background, I'm an economist. Yeah, I believe in free economy, and I think it is the duty of every player in the market, yeah, to make sure that there is demand. Yeah, so we need to offer interesting value packages to our customers. We need to make sure that the complete service and the sales funnel is sanitized according to the confidence needs, because customers will be nervous. We need to make sure that really customers are interested in our offer, which is individual mobility. That's our duty as a manufacturer and a player in the market. So that's important. I believe governments have a prime responsibility in setting a clear framework. Yeah, that is important. A stable framework, which is a long-term oriented. Yeah, so here I think the government took decisive steps of doing a lockdown, which in this time was right. Yeah, we see the numbers are relatively low still in India. If you look in a global picture, I think government took the right decision. I think now it's time to give a clear plan to the businesses. When are we going to open what? Yeah, so I think it was a little bit too late to wait until the 2nd of May to say, yeah, now I'm going to extend it. No, I think it's important that you give a clear timeline. Because like I said, it's not that easy to ramp up a supply chain overnight. Yeah, you need to know when is happening what. So that's the first thing. So the framework of the government. When it comes to speed of coming back, the government can help a lot. Yeah. So if you provide liquidity on a low cost base, yeah, if you provide some incentives, yeah, in order to regain some momentum, this could definitely help to speeden up the process of recovery. Yeah, a lot of countries, state governments around the world are doing this. They are launching heavy investment programs in order to reinstall the economy fast. Because what happened, and that is pretty clear, these 2 months in India, these 2 months all around the world have destroyed a lot of economical backbones. Yeah, so we will see that it was a devastating situation, an unprecedented situation we never had in the past. Because normally in such situations, business was somehow continuing. But now everything has been broken because everything has been stopped. Yeah, and therefore a lot of governments around the world are deciding they have to invest now in order to regain, first of all, confidence, and secondly, really to regain the business base of all the countries in the world. Yeah, so I think the government of India is looking into this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will provide the economy with some support. When it comes to the auto industry, we are representing around 7% of the gross domestic product. We are a big export industry, which is also helping to balance the trade balance, as you know. So I think in order to give an incentive into the auto industry would make sense from my point of view. But that's up to the government. It's not my decision.
And one more scenario which we were discussing right now, it is kind of complex because one aspect is that we might see more personal mobility because of social distancing and all. Second thing that after this long lockdown, the purchasing power has gone down. So what are the scenarios are you looking at? Are we going to see some kind of sharp growth in small car purchases or used car purchases, buying? What do you see? And lower usage of common shared mobility, public transportation? What do you see?
Yeah, so we are having the advantage that we are a global player. And we can look around the world how the situation evolves. Yeah, and we have basically 3 stages around the world. We have countries which have come back after the crisis. We have countries which are on the verge to come back, and we have countries which are still in the middle of the crisis. So our Chinese experience shows us that it's possible to ramp up very, very fast. Yeah, so it's like a V-shaped curve. So it crashed and it came back pretty fast in terms of normal business. So in China, we are now around 90% of our pre-COVID-19 business levels. What China has taught us very clearly is there is a move into individual mobility. Yeah, that people are tending to use their own vehicles rather than using public transportation, what you did in the past. What we see there is a major push into used car. Yeah, and that's exactly what we expect also in India. Because, like I said before, our internal statistics show that customers are interested in individual mobility, yeah, but their budget levels has gone down. So they are not prepared to spend as much as they were prepared to spend in the pre-COVID-19 crisis. So that means we have to offer them accessible individual mobility. On the one side, I'm pretty sure that in particular in India, the two-wheelers will see growth. And on the other side, I bet a lot with my team at the moment on used cars. I think used car will be experiencing one major push in the upcoming months. And then obviously, like you said, fully read, the lower category cars in terms of accessibility, like a Polo in a lower price band, will see also movement coming in.
Last time, I don't know if you remember, but we were having chat around Polo at that was in Nashik, I guess. So, and mentioned Polo, I can't stop myself from asking this question because so many viewers have been asking, when are we seeing the new gen Polo?
Yeah. First of all, after our 10 years anniversary party, we launched a new Polo in October, November last year, and it has seen a lot of traction. So we were able in the first quarter of its existence to outsell 2018 numbers, and that was in a phase when the industry already went down. So the vehicle is the state of the art, and on top of it, we are now launching a new engine, the 1.0 liter TSI, with a 6-speed manual the first time. We never had this. And we are moving it downwards the series ladder to offer it in the high series as well. That means it is getting more accessible. Less weight, less fuel consumption, higher torque, higher output, a very interesting proposition. But your question is, I guess, more related to the car which we are selling in Europe, the next generation Polo. India has, as you know, one peculiar legal situation. It has a wonderful, famous sub-4 meter category, which is giving a very big tax advantage to the customer. And unfortunately, our next generation Polo is 4.05 meters. Yeah, so that means that I need to put in engineering investments. And what we had decided is we are going to go ahead first with a compact SUV, which we showcased at Auto Expo, our Volkswagen Taigun. Then we come with our sedan, our Vento successor, and then we're working on the next level product. Yeah, so we are going to continue with our existing and definitely state-of-the-art Polo, and then we're going to go taking the next steps.
And when you talk about sub-4 meter category, when are we going to see you getting into that zone with SUVs?
That is an interesting segment. It's growing tremendously. A lot of players are getting into that, but it's also worthwhile looking at. We are in the good situation that our MQB platform is very flexible. On the MQB platform, we built, for instance, cars like a Passat, like a T-Roc, like a Tiguan. They all built on MQB, and at the same time, we are building our new Polo on the MQB platform. So it's pretty flexible, and it offers multiple opportunities on that platform. And the sub-4 meter category SUV is very interesting to look at. You know that our strategy, anyhow, is very much focused in SUVs. So we want to go this route because we believe that this body style is going to be the body style of the future, even more in India than in other countries. Around the world today, as we speak, Volkswagen is already selling more than 50% of its total lineup in SUV. So SUV is interesting, and it's a logical consequence that A00 SUVs, the sub-4 meter category SUV, could be an interesting proposition for Volkswagen to go for.
So next year we might see that?
No. First of all, next year we come with the Taigun, which is our our compact SUV proposition. It is going to be highly localized, very attractive, and very accessible. Yeah, and then we come with the next product, which will be also from India 2.0, is the sedan, and then we look into the future for the multiple projects. And we have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of
I'm sure
things to do.
that was my next question. What kind of action are we going to see from Volkswagen after post-lockdown? Because so many products are in the pipeline anyway. I guess your plans are delayed a bit, right?
No. The first thing what we did is this year we launched our Tiguan Allspace, but we did this only in a press launch. We have not taken the car to our dealerships. The same was with the T-Roc, which we had done on a digital PR launch, which we also have to launch on the ground. And then we are now going ahead with our TSI, our new 1.0 liter TSI BS6 compliant engine. So these are the next steps which we have to take. All these cars are lined up, so we can go ahead with those. Once we get all the transportation logistics in place, we will move this out to the dealerships and then subsequently launch.
And last question, obviously, I'm not too sure if we should expect precise answer, because there's so many variables related to Corona and COVID. How much time do you think we can get back, the auto market can go back to the normal self?
Well, if I knew this, I think I could open a consultancy company. We actually, what we do is we compare really country by country. Yeah, so we have the clear lines of China as a blueprint. We have now the opening of the dealerships in the biggest part of Europe. So the northern part, like Austria, like Germany, the Netherlands are opening again. Dealerships are working again. And we will then somehow plunge in the sales volumes into this machine and to see. I expect to have some form of recovery after 2 months. Yeah, so that we come back, but I think the real recovery we see with Diwali and the festive seasons coming. Yeah, so it's really it depends on a lot of imponderabilities. What is the government going to do? How are we going to cope with COVID-19? Because what we have to see, it's not going to be over with the lockdown. In contrast, a lot of effort has to be done in the sanitization process, in the discipline of our people to act. Yeah, India is a country, as you know it much better than I am, is the highest density. Are people going to be disciplined? Are they going to be stand away from each other? I can only say the European experience was that people in the beginning were not going to shops. Yeah, so they really are more on the online aspect. Yeah, they try to avoid this. Yeah. So it really depends on the mentality. Yeah. So far as I see, Indians are more relaxed than Europeans are. Yeah. So, but also there is a lot of fear now going on. Yeah. So when you look into my community, for instance, the WhatsApp talks, it really shows that people are getting scared, extremely scared, because Mumbai is affected heavily. Yeah. And we have ticking bombs like Dharavi, which we have to see. Yeah? So I think it's a lot about confidence, and that matters on how we act as responsible citizens, how we act as organization in order to make sure that the process are really adhered to. So we have plotted down the complete sanitized process for dealerships, for our own production sites, but it is without people. Yeah, so we trained them. It is really up everybody in his individual need. He has to go and wash his hands. He has to make sure that he changes and his masks. He has to adhere to the social distancing standards. And is this something we can get into place? That we will see. And if this is going to get a little bit more normality, I'm pretty sure that we can come back pretty fast. Yeah, but it's a 360 now. If the government is giving incentives, I'm 100% sure we will see some pickup. Yeah, is it coming or not? Where are we going to focus on? And therefore, it's unpredictable. Our assumption at the moment, it will take us 2 months, at least, to come to a certain level. My core focus first is definitely on the workshop. That's the core focus, because we need to get some form of normality in my partner companies in order to have really a backbone to go ahead.
Thank you, Steffen, for this interesting and insightful chat. And Steffen, I'd suggest few things which are obviously important, like we have to understand what kind of discipline we are going to follow so that we slow this whole coronavirus down. And plus, in manufacturing plants, we are going to see lots and lots of changes. We might see some revision in the GDP. And plus, Stefan also suggested which is very important for anyone who's working, that you should have that, without agenda coffee breaks online. So thanks a lot, Stefan, for this chat. Good luck.
Thank you very much.